Hi, everybody. Good evening. So this is another Tuesday Have Your Say edition on GUBA Trade Expo and other GUBA Enterprises. It's another initiative by the GUBA team to interact, help, and bring on board some entrepreneurs who are doing well and have a conversation with them on how they've been coping during this COVID-19 era and all of the consequences and implications that it comes with. This should be the fourth or fifth edition. We've had several people, from inventors of ventilators to solar hand washers to bakers to fashion designers, accessory designers, different entrepreneurs giving their different views and opinions, as well as tips to help startups, up and coming entrepreneurs as well. And today is another edition. Today we are hosting two Ghanaian ladies who live in the United Kingdom, but they run an African business. They run an African cuisine business. And so today's conversation is going to be about food and creativity, because they run a creative event enterprise as well. So if you're on, kindly stay tuned, don't go anywhere. And as the conversations go on, let's have your thoughts on what you think. If you have any questions too, you are allowed to drop them in the comment section. As and when time allows it, we'll be asking your questions along the line. So if you're here, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you are here, and let's get the conversation going. Anyone online yet? Okay. So today we are hosting two people, Akosua Nunoo and Edwina Morgan. And both of them are the team leads of EatAfrican. They are based in the United Kingdom, London, like I said earlier. And they are Ghanaians. Okay, I'm seeing the thumbs up coming in. Hello, Khadija. I see Khadija. Hello, Sandy. Hi. Hi. Are you guys ready for today's conversation? Hello, Priscilla. Hi. Nana Boatema, I see you. Hi, good evening. Hey, Lucy. Claudia, I see you. Claude Andrea, hi. Okay, guests will be joining us shortly, but before they do, let me just introduce you. Lizzie, hi. Hello. Let me just introduce myself. My name is Ajwa Amofa Osei. You'd like to add in Strava. On all social media platforms, I use Ajwa Loud, GH. Just the regular Ajwa with a D, not a J, a DW. Ajwa Loud, GH. And this is the Tuesday edition of Have Your Say. Hello, Nana Boatima. Hi. Of Have Your Say on GUBA Trade Expo, part of the GUBA Enterprises. Let me reiterate that this is a conversation that we bring on board entrepreneurs, startups, even already established businesses. No matter how long you've been in the business, we believe that all entrepreneurs have something that they add, something that they bring on board, something new, something different each and every time. And so that is what this conversation is about, especially in this COVID-19 era. We want to, as much as possible, use our platforms to push our entrepreneurs. People are doing amazingly well in their businesses, and this is a platform where we want to push them and hold conversations so that they can also advise the other startups and the other entrepreneurs there. Hi, Sabrina. Hello. My name is Ajwa Mufose. You can call me Ajwa Loud. I'm a journalist and I am based in Ghana. But today, my two guests are both in the United Kingdom, and they are going to join me shortly. Now, let me tell you something quickly about Eat Africa, which was founded by both of them, Edwina Morgan and Akosua Nunoo. So the EatAfrican Dining Experience is an immersive supper club founded by Edwina and Akosua Edwina is the founder and head chef of Waakyeleaf and an avid foodie. I'm an avid foodie as well. If you follow me anywhere on social media, you know that I love food. So definitely I'm a foodie. Akosua is the founder of Creative Details Event Consultants and has a keen eye for detail. Together, they are passionate about showcasing the best of African cuisine and hospitality through unique and immersive dining experiences. So, before Akosua joins us, Akosua is going to join us first, and then Edwina will come on later. Before Akosua joins us, let's hear your thoughts on how impactful the previous editions of Have Your Say Tuesday has been to you personally and your business, and how it's helped you cope in this COVID-19 era. If you can, drop your comments or how it's impacted you in the Dropbox comment sections over there. And let's get talking. Meanwhile, Akosua is getting ready to join us in a jiffy. Drop your comments. Drop your comments. Hello, Stanis. Hello. Hi. Okay, Kus Ampa, hi to you. Hello. Okay. Right. So we're about to go on now. Is Akosua ready? Can we have Akosua? Hi, Akosua.
Hello, Ajwa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Feeling good. The weather's been miserable today in London, so it's okay.
Oh, really? What's been happening
Yeah,
in
it's
London?
been raining. Yeah, it's been raining.
Okay. Well, our race started here as well. We are hoping that this time around we won't have to deal with any floods and tragedies.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Yes. So what's up? What's up? How have you been coping with the COVID-19?
As you know, London's on lockdown, so I would say we're all indoors, not really going out that much, as in just going to the shops to get the basic essentials. So
Right.
homebound.
Okay, so let's get right into the conversation now, because I've said a few things about you and your business to our viewers, but I would like you to give us something explicit on it. So your business, what is it about? Something very brief.
So basically, the business name is called Creative Detail Events. It's a bespoke events consultancy. We provide end-to-end event management. We provide event liaison, marketing, and coordination as well. Basically, adding a creative detail or touch to every event that I do. So basically, no two events are the same. Simply
Okay, so you as an entrepreneur in the events business, I do know that for our parts of the world here in Ghana, a lot of events have been put on hold. A lot of them have had to either cancel or postpone and wait for the appropriate time. And it's all because of this pandemic that is being dealt with globally. How has it affected you?
Basically, we're in the same boat. So all events are on hold or have been postponed. So I do work in events full-time, 9 to 5 as well. So creative details is just I'd say a hobby turned into whatever you want to call it, like a little side hustle, as my friends normally say. So yeah, so we are on full lockdown. All events have been postponed or cancelled till probably September.
So I am thinking that before the virus broke out, you probably had some bookings, had some events planned. In such a situation, how do you deal with it? Do you have to give refunds to your clients? Do they agree and meet you halfway so that probably they shift their day so that when the time is due, they'll still have the services that they paid for? How do you deal with these things?
I'd say I think the conversation we're having is rather than cancelling, it's actually to postpone them and to find a suitable date, which is obviously better for the client. So that's what we've been doing, like postponing them, trying to find a suitable date rather than just saying, here's your refund. Do you want to go? It's much more postponing. And we're working.
But have you not had a few of your clients who, I mean, in every house they say there's a black sheep. A few of them would want to like outrightly cancel and demand for a refund.
Yeah. So if you have cancelled and we've obviously given them the refund back, that is totally fine to do.
But does the business not allow you to, let's say, if someone cancels totally, which is absolutely not your fault, but something that we are all trying to curb as a people globally, does the business not allow you to, let's say, take a percentage for keeps?
I'd say, I mean, there is an allowance or there is a provision for that. But I mean, with this current pandemic, I mean, it's global. So I think we all have to be understanding and try and find a common ground. So yeah, we've had to give refunds. It's only about up to 2 clients, so that's not too bad. So
Have
it's not.
you in any way been able to adapt?
I'd say, yeah. So we've been doing a lot of, I would say, a bit of events online through webinars. So that's been the other new thing that's come onto the event scene, doing virtual events online. But obviously, it's all technology. So there's a certain number of people you could obviously get on your platform space. So it's new. There are glitches, but it will get better.
Definitely, it will all get better. We are all hoping that
Yeah.
things will actually get better. But for your type of business before this pandemic, was it like set up in such a way that you could work from home at any point in time and not necessarily have to go to the office?
Yeah. You can work both ways because, as I said, I do work 9 to 5 as an events executive. So I do have the opportunity to work from home or I do work in the office. But I normally tend to go into the office because you do have access to, for example, sort out your event logistics for your event day in the office rather than doing it at home, because obviously then you've got to print name badges, you've got to get your event function sheet, you've got to speak to different vendors or stakeholders that you work with. So I do normally tend to operate in the office, but I can work from home.
Okay, but when you are working from home, let's say you are talking to your clients via video like this, are they comfortable you going into their homes? I mean, not physically, but you're still in their homes.
I mean, within the current pandemic and within the current situation we're in, I think it's even acceptable. As I said, I do also have a young child. He's about 3 years old, so you do sometimes see him floating about. So I think everyone understands the situation we're in. So we tend to run shifts, so it's okay.
If you look at the situation now and before the pandemic, what do you think? I mean, we all do know that there's a lot of negativity, but has it brought anything to light? Has it made you learn anything about the
um,
business?
yeah, it's made basically what it's taught me, or what is that you've got to be flexible and you've got to be adaptable. You've got to change. So basically, you've had to adapt to your clients' needs. Like, for example, if you're delivering events, some of them, as I said, online, you've got to make sure that you do have the technical know-how to be able to switch and be able to do that immediately, because people would then not be able to come into an open space. So how then do you still deliver your event?
I mean, I do know that you haven't run a business here in Ghana before,
Mm-hmm,
but
mm-hmm.
are you in contact with any entrepreneurs based home? Yeah.
I do have a few friends who work in the event space. So yeah, we do talk on a daily basis. And obviously they are having the same problems that we're having. Lockdown means lockdown. No one needs to go out, or you can't have any events in an open space. So we are adapting. But as I said, I think it's much more to get the numbers down, those and then what's the right word to get the numbers down, and basically just to make sure that we can create and run events again, because that's what we do. Our events are they're more social, they're more interactive, they're fun. So when we do the events online, you realize that the fun element is taken out of it because there's so much you can do online.
But in your conversations with them and with a few things that you've observed, even though you haven't run a business here, do you think, I mean, we usually say that because of our kind of setting here, people, you guys in the West do have an advantage. Now, with your conversations with them and the few observations that you've made, do you believe in that school of thought? Or do you think that the level playground is fair for everybody to play?
No, maybe I wouldn't say a level playground, but much more. Maybe the only advantage we have, I would say, maybe is the technology. Obviously, we've got access to Wi-Fi, and I think the internet connection is really good. I think that would be only advantage. Yeah. I think Ajwa's gone off.
Say again.
Hello, Ajwa.
Hello.
Hello, Ajwa. Hi. Yeah, you just went off screen. I just saw you've gone off screen. Yeah, I can hear you now.
It's my internet connection is a bit fussy.
So that was what I was just saying. I was saying that the only, I would say, advantage that probably we would have over my colleagues in Ghana would be the internet connection. If you wanted to do events virtually online, that would be the only disadvantage or the advantage, really.
Okay, but in terms of profit making also and clientele basis, what do you think?
It depends on the event that you run, though. It depends on the event, because as I said, I work in an event space 9 to 5, so we charge for our events. We run seminars, training courses, dinners, and people pay to attend. So it's obviously different to some of the events that I run in Ghana. So obviously, whilst in Ghana, you have some of the corporates paying for it. In my workplace, people obviously have to pay to come to these events themselves.
Now, let me take you back to the adaptation question. You said it was your business gave room for that. But obviously, with this new development, even though you could work from home, there will be a few challenges. Run us through that.
So the few challenges working from home, sometimes it's connecting to the server, first and foremost, because sometimes everyone's on the server. And two, obviously, when you have to be on a call or when you need to speak to vendors, because sometimes I do need to go into the event space, because we normally used to run events at work and we've got the event venues in the building. So sometimes you just need to go in there just to pop in and, have a quick chat to the venue manager. You can't do that from home. You just have to obviously send an email, wait, and even the office is closed. So we're just waiting at the moment. But at the moment, I'd say it's good. It's good. We can still work from home. It's not a problem. That is not a challenge or a hindrance in me not being able to deliver the event later on. No.
Provided you knew or had a hint, any hint at all that there was going to be this kind of pandemic, what would you have done differently?
What would I have done? Probably maybe reschedule the events. Obviously, we have rescheduled most of the events, but I think we would have been able to talk to our clients a bit better. Hello, Ajwa. Hello.
Yes, Akosua, please go ahead. If my screen goes off, just go ahead. It's my internet that's messing up, but I can still hear you.
That's fine. Okay, so yeah, probably prior to the pandemic, what could we have done better? See, if events are with every event you create, you have to be flexible. So when you're running an event, even normally, even on face-to-face, things do happen and things do go wrong. You obviously have to adapt quickly and manage the situation. So I think it's the same for working from home or doing it virtually online. In case, as I say, I'm speaking to you and the line cuts off, as you said, keep on speaking, do something, switch probably a different platform. So with events, you just you obviously have to think.
Hello,
can you hear me?
Hello,
Ajwa, I can hear you. Hello, Ajwa, I can hear you. Hi.
Akosua, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Akosua, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh,
can you hear me?
I can't hear anything.
I can hear you loud and clear. The internet connection, we keep dropping off.
Oh, hello?
I can hear you, Ajwa. Hello, I can hear you and I can see you as well.
Akosua, can you hear me?
I can hear you and I can see you.
I can see you talking, but I can't hear anything.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What's up? Dental, I can't hear you.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. As you know, we're having a little bit of internet challenges, so I'm going to see whether I can connect Ajwa back online. But let's introduce Edwina. Edwina, welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good to see
Good to be
you. Good to see you. How are you coping during COVID-19?
I think as Akosua alluded to earlier, I think we are adapting. None of us expected this to happen. So we're doing the very human thing of adapting, which is what I think we're good at as people. We adapt to changes. So that's what we're doing. As a sort of a catering business, I mean, people need to eat. So you have to find a way to get the food to them. And aside from getting food to people, you also have to think about the experience that goes with food. And hence the reason why I think we recently had a virtual dinner party, because again, we wanted to bring the experience that one gets from enjoying good food to them, and sort of remind people that even though we can't physically be together, there are still opportunities for us to do things that are innately very human.
Fantastic. And how was the virtual dinner? That's the first time you've done that. Obviously, you've never done it before. Yeah. How did it go?
It went really well. I mean, it definitely exceeded our expectations. So the dinner was actually in honor of some of the COVID-19 heroes. So we had to, just to recap, Akosua and I, separately from her business, we share a business together, which is EatAfrican. It's an immersive dining experience. And prior to, obviously, the COVID-19 pandemic, we had planned to host a Mother's Day lunch, and that got cancelled. So obviously we had bought all the stuff and had prepared for it, and we had a menu in place for that. And because we had to cancel that event, we thought we'd put the resources to something else that was equally as useful and worthy. So we kind of reached out to our followers on Instagram and asked them to nominate people that they knew who worked in the who were obviously helping with the whole COVID-19 effort. So these are frontline workers or people who are just generally and genuinely even being kind and sort of being selfless in a time like this. So we had lots of nominations. So we selected a few people and then decided to host a virtual dinner party. I mean, it's totally unheard of. And I think there were a few skeptics, but we managed to pull it off. And on the day, it was actually quite interesting, because I never thought, and I think Akosua can attest to that, I never thought that we could bring the feeling that one gets when they're sharing food with people, especially when people are close to them. We somehow managed to replicate that online. Even though we were apart by technology, we were able to sort of share in the laughter and kindness, and it was all a new friendship. So it definitely was a success. And there were a few glitches, because obviously we're dealing with technology, but all
just
in all,
like the one we're dealing with now.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's expected.
Yeah.
But I think people are more, with everything that's happened, one thing I've noticed about people and just humanity generally is that they're more forgiving and more understanding, because these things happen. I mean, life's too short, so you can't really fret too much when the computer freezes when someone's talking. It's not the end of the world. There are sort of serious things than that.
Okay. No, definitely. And I think for me, what I think is really nice about the two of you working, but I think first of all, let's talk about Waakyeleaf, how you decided to come up with that, and why that particular name in the first place.
Oh gosh, yes. So Waakyeleaf, it's a very interesting story, because my background is legal, and I've always sort of been in the legal field. And while I was training a long time ago in 2008, whilst I was training to be a lawyer, I decided to set up a food stall, because one of my friends and a cousin of mine we really enjoyed cooking, and one of my friends suggested that we set up a food stall to sell food at Alexander Palace Market, because we lived close to there. And we found out that every time we went off to sell our food, the market closed at 3 o'clock, but we would set up at 10, and within an hour, our food would finish. And mostly it wasn't people of Ghanaian or African descent. It was sort of people from different cultures who somehow were gravitating towards something new and tasty. So when I qualified, I thought about stopping the whole cooking idea, but I couldn't, because we had garnered a lot of support from people and interest from a lot of people. So I'll still have clients from the market asking me to host parties and sort of host sort of private parties for them and their clients. So it became a thing which I couldn't stop. And I also found out that it was a very good outlet for me, sort of being in the legal space and sort of doing sort of commercial law. It can be very monotonous sometimes, and it can be a bit draining. So for me, it was a creative outlet, and I found out that I actually, besides being an avid foodie, I enjoyed sort of creating new flavor profiles and also sort of reinterpreting and reimagining very traditional recipes that I had witnessed my grandmother or my mum make. So finding a new way to bring African food to the fore, but also make it in such a way that it's appealing for second, third, and fourth generation Ghanaians, and also somehow be able to invoke a bit of nostalgia for some of us who grew up in Ghana but don't get to go there as often as would like to. So our food essentially brings, I think it's a whole experience. As I always say to Akosua, it's the whole idea of bringing an experience. So when someone eats something that we've made, it should evoke nostalgia. It should make them question something or inspire them to do something, not just eat.
Or make them want more, like you
exactly.
do. Make these little nice jollof balls with like maybe a little plantain, a little chicken on there, and it's just like you want more because it's so tiny.
Exactly.
But I guess that's what you're trying to create. Adwoa, can you hear us? Okay, but we can't hear you. Are you on mute? We can't hear you. No, we can't hear you. Try and re-log on. Try and re-log on. Adwoa, for Edwina, for somebody that is a lawyer essentially, were you always cooking at home? I mean, what made you go into food? Was it your mum that's always cooking at home? Like, what made you have the passion for cooking?
I think it's my grandmother. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, and my mum, very typical fancy woman. She loves to cook.
You're fancy.
We have very interesting stories about food, like, and how my grandmother used to. I mean, there's this anecdotal sort of thing that we say at home. So my grandmother was into always making food look rich. So she would even put like a knob of butter in light soup because she just wants the oil to sort of come to the top. So she really went to great lengths to make sure the aesthetics were good as well as the flavor. So I think I was inspired by her and my mom's whole flair with food and entertaining people. And when I went to university here in the UK, I just found that I was cooking more for my friends, but I concentrated a lot on finding new ways to extract flavor. And I was going through a phase where I didn't really like using things like Maggi or MSG in some of my food. So I was trying to find new ways and new techniques to try and create flavor using just sort of fresh ingredients and that sort of thing. So
Edwina,
for me,
Edwina, can you touch on the MSG? What is it? Because we've heard a lot of people talk about, not using Maggi and all of the. What is it? What is wrong with Maggi's using Maggi?
So there are different schools of thoughts on this. I mean, there's a lot of MSG in most of the stuff that we eat. Some schools.
And what is MSG for people that don't know?
MSG is monosodium glutamate. I think it's I'm not sure what the chemical composition is, but I think it was developed somewhere, and I guess the viewers can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's Asia, somewhere in Asia, the composition came up. Someone concocted this and realized that if you added MSG to food, it gave it the umami flavor. Umami is kind of like the flavor you get when you've cooked tomatoes for a really long time and you have that sweet, salty flavor. You can't really point it out, but it's that thing that you have in Maggi. It's umami flavor, right? And people don't have the time to make sure that they cook tomatoes for so long that you kind of release the natural umami flavor. So it's a shortcut to something that you could do by adding Maggi or adding MSG to your food, it kind of adds a different depth of flavor, which we all sort of seem to seek. Every cuisine has that. So, for example, Italians will get umami flavor from using Parmesan because it has that flavor. So you wonder why you put Parmesan on pasta, because it has that flavor that you can't really pinpoint, but it makes everything taste good. So some chefs believe MSG there's nothing wrong with it. Others sort of feel there is something wrong with it. But there are a lot of people sitting on the fence. But I can say that most of the things that we eat have MSG in there. So crisp has MSG. The Chinese food we eat has it. It has some iodine in it, so it could be good for you, but some people think it's bad. So I guess it's.
But in your world, you don't use it.
Yeah, I try not to use it only because I just sort of limit it. Because if you're going to use salt, then I don't want to compound everything by adding MSG to my food as well. Okay. So, but then again, I feel it allows for creativity. So one sort of, for example, I will spend time sort of cooking tomatoes down just to make sure that the water is totally evaporated from it, just so I get the real essence and the flavor that I want, which in some cases could be replaced by just adding Maggi to the food.
Okay.
But I would spend extra time to do that, to make sure that I get it naturally, opposed to adding something else. But I mean,
I want to see whether we have Ajwa back. Ajwa, do we have you? Oh God.
Oh.
The sound. We can't hear you. Oh, Ghana. We can't hear you. It's so weird. We just can't hear you. I don't know whether you can hear us, but we can't hear you. But we will keep the conversation going and see whether you will be able to get your sound back. And we will continue the conversation. I'm sorry, guys, if you're watching that I'm not dressed. I was maneuvering behind stage, but I'm here to support the cause and to make sure that this interview comes along just fine. Somebody's asked, how do you choose the flavors to combine?
So I don't know if this is a sort of a natural ability, but I sometimes I've never been able to sort of pinpoint how I manage to do that. So it's a very weird process for me. Sometimes I just sort of imagine what things would taste like. So for example, what weird combination did I just do? So I'll use things that I already know. So I know something like, for example, plantain and beans that we know goes really well. So something that tastes like plantain would definitely go with something that tastes like beans. So I look for similar. This is me being really basic with it. So I kind of look for flavor profiles that are similar and try to pair them together. So I mean, I would add things like, for example, like smoked maybe ham to jollof rice and peas, because it's nice. You've got the sweetness from peas and you've got the saltiness from ham and you've got obviously the nice flavor of jollof. You make something out of that. You never really sort of think, oh, I don't know how to explain this sort of easily. It's a very intricate process that goes on in my head. I literally sit there and then just think, okay, this will go together, and I make it and somehow it works. So it's hard to interpret what goes on in my head sometimes.
Wow. So it's all creativity, everything. Like you sit down and actually plan it.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I do. Sometimes it's as simple as I'm sitting at work and I'm actually on a conference call talking about something else, and then it pops in my head and I'm just like, right, this would work. So literally I come home and the first thing I do is test it. And more often than not, I give it to my husband to taste and he's like, yeah, it works. And then that's it. And then it becomes something on my menu because it tastes good. And yeah.
So have you ever dreamed about opening a restaurant, Edwina?
I think it's hard. Sort of restaurants are really hard to manage, I think, from a slight experience that I had. So a while back, this was sometime in 2013, I had residency for a pop-up at the Africa Center. This is when it was in Covent Garden. And it was probably one of the very difficult times sort of managing something that was like a restaurant, especially finding the right people to man it. And also run that alongside, obviously, my legal career. So if I'm to do that, I'll have to quit the law and focus wholly on that, because I don't believe in doing things in halves. I have to sort of go in for it, opposed to sort of doing it half and half. So for now, it's nice to sort of dabble in it as a side business, and then sort of focus on my legal career whilst my kids are young as well. I think eventually I will think about that, but there are lots of other things that I could be doing now. So I'll focus on that for now.
Fantastic. Adwoa, can you hear us, and can we hear you?
I can hear you.
Yay!
Yeah. She's back.
I don't know what's happening with my connection. It's just, sorry guys. It's just
Don't worry. I'll let you go back to doing your thing. If it comes back off, I will rejoin and continue the conversation. Thank you so much for having me. A short period.
Thank you for sitting in. Thank you so much. Right. Okay, so Edwina, you were talking about how difficult it was to set up a restaurant and the management. I am thinking that if you've done this for a while, I am no entrepreneur, but on top of my head, I would be thinking that if you've done it for a while, you should be able to find your way around it. And probably you have your team in place so that in case of anything, they can step in and help if it's got to do with the administrative work, if it's got to do with the work within the space itself, or does it work any different from what we think as lame people?
I think it does. It's a total mindset. There's a lot of change management that goes on when one decides to set up a restaurant, right? Your mindset has to be totally focused on this. And most restaurateurs, I think, usually have that as a passion. That's what they're doing. I mean, the successful ones, I think, usually have that as a passion and know what their role is within that restaurant setup. So for me, I think I need to get my mindset in the right place in terms of being able to relinquish some of the power that I currently have. So I now have autonomy over my recipes. I also want to be able to manage how my food is presented, and also sort of the story behind what the food that I'm serving. So I have to be able to find the staff or the people that somehow subscribe to the same ideals as I do. So it would be really hard for me to leave it for someone else to run, especially if I don't feel comfortable that they understand what I want to sort of portray with the food that I'm serving people. For example, my ideal situation would be to set up a restaurant which focuses mainly on Afro-fusion cuisine, which is obviously trying to bridge the culinary gap between our Ghanaian food and that of other cultures as well. It's something that obviously, if I was to hire another chef, I would have to make sure that the person also understood that and had those sort of ideals that I do, and also understand the plating and how I wanted the food to be communicated to the people that visit my restaurant. So there's a whole, I think, psychological thing that goes behind having to set it up. So it's easy to just have the money and then set up a restaurant and get someone to run it. But if you have a story to tell, or if you have something to prove, you need to have the right people who understand your dream and then are able to share in it and interpret it the way that you want it to, without obviously you having to worry.
Okay, now I'd like to go to Akosua, but before that, the idea of Eat African, which I understand was founded by both of you, what is the aim behind it? At the end of the day, what do you hope to achieve?
Akosua, are you happy for me to go for this one?
Roll with it.
Okay, so I think we kind of both of us alluded to this in both our sort of our conversations with you. So my idea, my wish, or the reason why we set up this was to find a medium. So we call it an immersive dining experience, because when you come to dine with us, when you come to the table, you kind of are immersed in a whole. So it's everything is themed, right? So you are almost we hope to transport you to wherever it is that we want to take you. So when we set up our events, it's always themed. So for example, we have a Valentine's Day event that we do in February, and our theme is love, brewed in an African pot. And as you all know, there's a 1980s film with that name.
Yes.
So because we had, this was an immersive experience, we had the film on that day showing. So when you walk in, there's a pot in the room with like flowers, with rose flowers and everything. There's like mochia there. So you think you're back home, right?
Yeah.
Mochia there with the pot on it. And then we had the movie rolling in the background. So you could see Abba and I think it's Kofi, like literally they were there and you could hear the sights and sound. And then when you went downstairs to the main hall where you had to eat, you've got African print. So the whole point was to try and recreate sort of kind of the village feel. So if you know about the movie, you kind of go into a whole immersive experience where you're thinking that you're part of it.
So what was it? Is it like more like taking the people back to their roots kind of thing?
Yes, and also the people that don't know, they have to leave the table feeling a bit inspired or wanting to find out more about it. So, for example, the menu has most of the stuff written in Tree. So you have like, some of the things like, what was it? Submit dough, and it's written in Tree, right? In the Tree language. So if you don't understand, you'd have to ask. It would mean you have to ask the next person sitting to you, saying, "Oh, do you understand this?" So it forces people to engage with each other and also somehow immerse themselves in the Ghanaian culture and the way we are. The whole hospitality and hospitable nature of Ghanaian people. So, that's our plan.
Akosua, how does the event artistry thing flow with the food thing? I mean, for us, food is just food. I mean, I cook my food and I just put it in a bowl or a plate and I'm just eating. The whole thing about styling it and doing a lot of skirmishes around it, how does the flow work?
As Edwina said, when we think of an event, so most of our events are themed. So when we think about it, we think about the food or how it should be plated or how it should go. So you obviously would have your starter, your main, and your dessert. And as she said, some of the courses are written in Tree. So it kind of like it's like a storytelling. So like as she was saying, like with the Valentine's Day event. So I think Kofi took gin to Abba's father. So we would have like a gin amuse bouche as a palate cleanser to precede a course. So we kind of like we follow the story. So it's much more we're narrating. So when you come in, like from start to finish, it's like it's like an answer story, if you know what I mean, like backing that. Okay. So yeah. So we plate the food. It's kind of like Edwina does all these fancy food stuff. So she would come to me, Akosua, what do you think? So we'll tweak it a bit, or we we tend to do a lot of tweaking and stuff in the background. But before it's brought to the fore on the day, we would have tested it. So sometimes we would obviously, like for example, light soup. We wouldn't obviously just put the light soup in a bowl and just bring it out. We probably have the meat in there, and then it would obviously pour it in front of the client or in front of the guest. And it's hot, it's tasty. I mean, it's articulate, it's artisan. Let's put it that way.
So is it like apart from just doing it for an event, ordinarily in our homes, is it something that you advise? Does it like add anything to ambience of eating? Something? What does it add actually?
I don't normally do that at home. I mean, Edwina tends to do that. I just eat it. So no, I just eat it, and Edwina just does the whole fancy stuff. So on the day, as I said, I'm more in charge of the decor, the creative, and the hospital stuff. Edwina is food, but we obviously marry ourselves together on the day, and we just deliver to make sure that it works. As you said, it's an immersive experience. It's like Chopa style, but with Afrofusion. We just popularized it.
So I checked out your Instagram pages, and I saw how the food is presented. On top of my head, I would think that they are Western foods because of how they've been put and served per the pictures that I saw. Edwina, how likely is it for someone to see your food presentation and then right away think that there's an Africanness or there's a Ghanaian mentality attached to it?
Well, I think it's very easy actually. So we try. That's the thing. So we are very playful in nature. So if there's a whole lot of tongue in cheek in our menu and how we serve our food. So for example, at a recent event, we had gari and sardine, but it was in a sardine case, right? So if you kind of know the story of the whole gari and sardine as a Ghanaian, you kind of get the little accents, like it's to play with you, right? We just want to play with you. It's very playful. So we had a boom, right, and it was a mini like apotoyua. So you see that, you know, it's very Ghanaian, but the presentation it confuses you. I think, okay, it looks Ghanaian. It has all the elements that I know it. Does it taste like it? And then you taste it like, oh my God, yes, it does. And that's what we want you to do. So yes, everyone can cook. Everyone's grandmother and auntie is the best cook. So to set us apart or to give people an incentive to come to any of our events or to even want to try our food, you want to give them something that is more than just food, an experience. And one thing my mom always says is people never forget how you make them feel. It's something that nobody forgets. And we try and bring as much of like humanness, us, and feeling to what we do. And I think that's what sets us apart. So everyone can cook. Everyone's a great cook, but it's just those little things that get people to question themselves or want to sort of they'll taste the food or drink sobolo and it's in a champagne glass and you're thinking, okay, is this sobolo? What is this? And then you taste it like, oh my God, it tastes like Auntie Mary's sobolo, something like that. So it brings you back to where you're from, wherever it is in Ghana that you're from. It takes you back to that little place, that little memory. That's all we want to create, but through good food and nice experiences.
So the motive with which you both established Eat African, if you had to rate yourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 with impact, and as far as achieving the aim is concerned, what would the math be?
I think we're literally comfortably at 6, only because I feel like we are capable of doing more. For us, I think it's time. I have a very busy job and 2 children, and Akosua has a busy job and 2 children and 1 child.
Hey.
She's quite young, and maybe I know something you don't know, Akosua.
Maybe Akosua is bringing us another one that we should expect.
But, so it's time, and I feel like we haven't peaked yet. There's so much that we can do, together we are quite sort of in sync in terms of all I need to do is to phone Akosua and just be like, right, I want to do this. And then within minutes, we're kind of bouncing ideas of each other. And I'm like, okay, I've got this recipe. I'm going to do this. And I want it to tie into this other event. And then that's it. We actually don't speak that much. It just kind of just flows. Because somehow we found some sort of synchronicity in our relationship as business partners.
Let me break in for some few minutes. So I just want to tell our viewers or listeners to drop their questions in a few minutes. I'm going to pick up their questions so that our 2 guests can give us the right answers. So if you have any questions, kindly drop them there. If the team has questions too, please put them on the screen for me so that I can ask them along the line. But how has it been trying to get those who are not of any African descent to take a likeness to what you do, with the food especially?
I think it's through the presentation. There is a really sad and wrong myth about African food, which we really want to dispel. It's clunky, it's spicy, it doesn't look good, and it's quite sad because it's wrong. I mean, now everyone is on the bandwagon, but prior to obviously the now, everyone sort of had these wrong misconceptions about African food. And slowly, with the emergence of with the emergence of Instagram and all the other amazing chefs and cooks online who are doing the most for African food, people are being reeled in through the presentation and interpretation, and also making the ingredients sort of known to people. I think people get a bit scared of African food when they don't know what's in it. So it's been a bit more explicit in our menu. So, for example, not just putting some like rice and stew on the menu, but being a bit more explicit with the description of the food, because you have to also think that, well, it's not just your own people reading it. but it'll be other people reading it. So if it's rice, if it's agwamu that you've written on there, can you sort of be a bit more explicit as to what's going in the agwamu? And that helps people sort of, I guess, get a bit more attracted to the food because of how you've described it. I'm not asking you to sort of describe, I don't know, yokogari as maybe. What did I see that at the time? Cassava particles with not like that, but at least be a bit more clear as to what's in the food, and that sort of reels people in, and people want to try it because it's interesting for them to see.
Akosua.
Yes. I think Edwina has said it all. I think Edwina has said it all because.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I said, I think Edwina has said it all because when we come up with the menus, obviously, as I said, it's normally a story that we do tell. So we obviously have to bring the creative touch to it. So we obviously have to try and think, okay, would it match the decor? Would it match the whole ambience? And sometimes even in choosing the venue, we just don't go for any venue. It has to obviously, it's like, as I said, it's a whole experience.
It's
So
like a total package. So from the word get-go, everything, there has to be like a bit of Africanness in like at every point in time. Is that like how it's supposed to be like?
That's how it's supposed to be. So like, for example, as you know, we live in the UK, London. So to drink from calabashes is not normal. So normally for our pre-drinks, we would normally serve like the sobolo in a calabash. We do obviously have Prosecco. We tend to mix it together just to give it the je ne sais quoi thing. And then the mains are served in a potoiwa. Like, for example, some of the courses in between, like the palate cleansers, if it's like oranges, we normally peel it, like, you know, like Ghana style. So have like, we tend to, I mean, it's a thought process. So we tend to do those little niche things that make us stand out. So people, it comes and go, oh, wow. Oh, I remember that. So that's what we try to bring, that nostalgic feeling back.
Do you remember?
Edwina, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was just reminding Akosua when we had to order alewa from. Do you remember alewa?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So we had for our Mother's Day, right? So our menu was in a story. So you don't get a physical menu that says this, but it's written in a story about our childhood. So things like I went to church with grandma, with grandpa. I mean, we didn't have names. We said her. I went to church with her. I was really hungry. I couldn't wait for her to cook. And when we got home, she made us in Kwai and blah, blah, blah. And that's when you have in Kwai. In the beginning, we say something like, she comes home and we say awa word too. And then she gives us something. And what is it? It's alewa. And then we serve the guests alewa. So they're going through the story and then you're giving them the food. So we had all these moms whose kids had bought tickets for the event. And then one mom had tears in her eyes because she was like, I haven't seen alewa for a long time. But I managed to get
me in Ghana, I haven't seen some in a very long time.
Yeah. That's the feeling. We just love doing that, seeing people's faces when they see things like from back in the day that we all remember, but somehow haven't had it in years. And this mom just came, was like, oh my God, this is really amazing, because it brought me back to my own mom, which was quite nice to hear.
Right. Now, I know this question has been asked so many times, but we never get enough answers. Now, I'm just going to pull in the woman elements in here. Now, you both are women, you both are mothers, and you both are running like 2 jobs. Right. Now, there are a lot of, I personally know a number of people who are not finding their way around. Even myself, I tried to start some business alongside my 9-to-5 job, and I wasn't seeing top, so I let it go. So how does the combination work? I mean, is that like a magical something that you do and then it works, like automatically you are able to like find your way around it, or you have to go through a certain process?
I'd say, you know what, as Edwina said previously, we tend to bounce ideas off each other. So if she comes up with something in her head for some of our upcoming events, we probably would run it through. We talk a lot on the phone. We don't talk a lot on the phone. We actually WhatsApp a lot, email, we leave voice notes. I tend to leave loads of voice notes. It's like as soon as an idea sparks, just leave a voice note. She'd come back to you. Oh, that couldn't work. That would work. And we do manage our time. As I say, manage our time. I think we tend to work or do the side hustle when the kids have gone to bed. So probably 10 p.m. till 1 a.m. we're still up, you know,
Yeah.
crunching, thinking, right, what do we do? That's when we do all our research. We're researching online, because as I say, we both work 9 to 5, and I work in an event space, so 9 to 5 I'm busy as well, on the train, everywhere and anywhere we're busy. We're talking events. Even as we speak now, we're thinking of some events upcoming that we've got coming up next month. So we're like, right, what do we do? What can we do? So we're always on the go.
Yeah.
How critical is the support of family for businesses?
Yeah, just to add on that, Akosua is right. So I've just actually realized something. You were known as my husband. I forgot to tell you, my husband basically just said you're married to me now, because Akosua calls me at 1 a.m. sometimes or 2, and my husband's like, "Oh God, it's your wife again." So but that's how we work, because of the job I do, I tend to finish quite late at night. So sometimes on the train at 10 p.m. that's when she calls me, and then when I get home, we'll still continue the conversation. But like as you sort of asked before, family support is really immense for us, especially for me. I've been lucky in the sense that my husband kind of, I think right from the beginning, he understood my passion for cooking and the fact that it just wasn't, it was relentless. So he's factored that into everything else that he does. So now he knows that I'm doing something connected to my business, and he's literally holding the kids downstairs for me so that I can do this. And my mom also helps sometimes, and we've got aunties and friends who help us with events as well. So it's definitely not a one-woman job. We definitely need people around us, and we've had wonderful people around us to support us. And it's generally a good network of people who always sort of turn up at our events. You know, those friends who ride or die will say, yes, we'll buy the tickets, we'll come. And those are the people that I think we owe everything that we kind of, any success that we're having at the moment to. Those friends, those networks that show up every time for us.
Okay, so with the team members, let's say your staff that you work with on your various events, what is the critical thing or the most important features to look out for when you're putting your team together?
Impeccable service.
Yeah, impeccable. Because when we
don't, that's one thing we don't
compromise on customer service. Like as soon as you walk through the door, as I said, it's more about the detail that we bring to every event. So the staff that we work with, they've always worked with us, I think, since we started. So they do understand the process or the procedure of what happens on a day. So once they're there, we just tell them X amount of guests, they know what to do, and they just run with it. So it gives me time to obviously focus on other things on the floor. And then Edwina's obviously in the kitchen. So that's how we work. So the staff do know what to look out for.
Do you have like plans of probably moving back to Ghana, even if not move back completely, like set up a branch of your businesses home? And that's what I want answers from both of you.
I was just going to throw it to Edwina. You know what?
No, I want answers from both of you.
Do I have plans to set up back home? We could collaborate with people back home. That would be okay. And we're also, I'd say we're thinking of probably hosting or having an event back home one day. We all have to go to Ghana, as in the whole family, wouldn't it, Edwina? We just can't go. So we'd obviously have to take the husband, the kids, and all go and probably do one event in Ghana. We're not sure when. It's in the pipeline, as in it's in the discussion stage. So we'll see. But it would obviously be what we do here, just basically different locations. It will be the same experience, same.
What's Heroes Among Us about?
Pardon?
Heroes Among Us. What's it about?
What did she say? I didn't quite hear you.
The Heroes Among Us, Akosua.
Oh,
yeah. What's up with that? What's it about?
So that's I think I talked about that earlier. I think you were offline then. So that's
I think I should have been offline.
We had planned a Mother's Day event earlier on this year, which was cancelled because of the COVID-19 situation. We had already stocked up on staff and as in ingredients and things, and we thought that obviously, given everything that's happening and how amazing some certain groups of people have been in sort of being at the front line, helping us, working so that we can stay at home safe and sound with our children, we thought we would give something back. So we decided to reach out to our Instagram followers to see if they could nominate people within the community, the various communities who were on the front line, obviously helping fight the coronavirus, or were just being regular stand-up, obviously, human beings, by being kind to people or by just going out of their way to really help others. And we came, we had lots of nominations from people. So we thought that we would host a virtual dinner party for these groups of people. And it was something that was met with a lot of skepticism because people didn't understand what we were trying to do. We had questions like, well, how are you going to get the food to them? How are you going to have a virtual dinner party? How is that even possible? But somehow we managed to pull it off. We managed to get food delivered to the people, and then also on the day, we had a very successful dinner party online, and it was good.
All right. Now I'm going to let both of you, each one of you, give 3 tips, like tips that you think have been very helpful to you as entrepreneurs. I'm sure there are a lot of startup businesses watching, and they would like to take a cue or two before we wrap up with everything. But right after the tips, I'm going to ask a few questions from our viewers also. So I'll start with you, Akosua. Just give us 3 things that you think are very essential for entrepreneurs and especially for startup businesses.
I'll say 3 tips would be: you need to be creative, you need to think out of the box, and you need to be adaptable.
So creativity, thinking out of the box, and adaptivity, right? Okay, Edwina.
I think I'll echo what Akosua said. Being adaptable is definitely essential. I think as an entrepreneur, you should be kind of prepared to be a bit more fluid with your thinking and with the way you work, and also be passionate about what you're doing. It's never really hard work if you enjoy what you're doing. So make sure you have a genuine interest in whatever project or commitment you're sort of making as an entrepreneur. So being adaptable, be passionate, and also just being kind. Right now, with the way things are and the world is going, there's nothing like just being human and being kind. I know it's nice to be a shrewd entrepreneur, but it's nothing beats being a kind entrepreneur. So be kind to yourself and to your clients.
Right. Now, let me ask a few questions from some of the viewers. Someone wants to know if during this COVID-19 era, if there are any other platforms that you've come across or realized that they will be very helpful to event planners online.
I'd say it depends, because we use the WebEx system on Saturday for our virtual dinner party, and that seemed to work well. So that was an online tool. And as I said, there's Zoom as well. So Zoom is really good as well. And I think Facebook, I also saw a note, I think sometime earlier this week, Facebook is also developing the online video tool. So hopefully that could rival Zoom. So yeah, they are stepping up the mark and being distinctive. So yeah, you could use those.
I think you also have to, just to add, I think one has to be mindful of what you want to use the platform for. So yes, it's for an event, but what do you want to get out of that event? So we used WebEx because we wanted to record it, and it's known to have really sharp recording mechanisms behind it. So we use that. So you have to figure out what and why you need the platform, and then use the one that's most appropriate for what you need it for.
Okay, and someone also wants to know if you think that after this pandemic is over, we are going to have, you guys as event planners in the event industry are going to have to go with price cuts I'm sure businesses are going to go slow. You would have to get your clients back and all of that because everyone is losing money one way or the other. So the person wants to find out if you think there are going to be price slashes in your activities and stuff.
Do I think?
Please, I want individual answers to this one.
I don't. Well, from an event point of view, or from my 9 to 5 point of view, I don't. Will there be price cuts? I would say there'll be price cuts, but much more there'll be competitive pricing. That is what I would say, and it's much more people slowly easing coming out to events because obviously with social distance, and I think people are a bit more still wary. So I don't think people come out more. So I think, yeah, but I wouldn't say there'll be price cuts as in it's half price, come and eat, go free. No, it wouldn't be that way because food prices are still going up. So no, we still have costs to bear.
Right, Edwina.
I totally agree. There will be competitive prices, obviously, to win some customers back. But I think for the catering businesses, it would be slightly different because, as Akosua said, food prices remain constant. But I mean, if you're having to cut price, then I guess you have to question what the quality would be. I mean, Are you buying cheaper ingredients so you can cut prices? So you have to manage your customers' expectations as well. I mean, as I said before, I know it sounded really basic to say be kind, but I think people will be more lenient with stuff. So there'll be more flexibility in contracts and things opposed to price cuts. So people would there'll be a little bit more fluidity in things like obviously when deposits have to be paid and when final amounts have to be settled opposed to actually slashing prices. So I have a feeling, I think it's just my lawyer brain, but I think people are going to write more clauses into their contracts, especially catering and event contracts, to ensure that obviously, one, we account for something like this ever happening again, and also to allow our customers the flexibility and comfort to come out and buy and attend events and also set up events. Because if a customer is unsure what the contract situation is, I think they'll be a bit more reluctant to plan an event in case it has to get cancelled again. But if a caterer or an event organizer can show that they are flexible in their contracts, I think it can lure a bit more people to come out and commit to actually planning and hosting events.
Okay. Akosua and Edwina, thank you so much. We've done exactly 1 hour, 7 minutes, and some 40 something seconds.
We've done it.
Thank you so much. This has been very insightful. But please let me ask one more question from one of our viewers. She says, are the dishes mild in flavor or clients can choose the hotness, Nando's style?
Yeah, but I think we go with it. I mean, I know that we like to do like skirmishes and like the foods looks a certain way and all that, but we stay true to the true nature of how the food should taste. So if it's shito and it has to be hot, it will be hot. But more often than not, we kind of listen to what the client wants. So for us, obviously, here in the UK, sometimes we have clients who host events for people from other cultures who are not used to the heat in our food. So they would advise us as to sort of how to try and temper it so that there is taste, but then obviously reduce the hotness. But other than that, we go with if that's how it's meant to taste, that's how it will taste until you tell us otherwise.
Right. What's next for Eat Africa?
What next for Eat Africa? I would say due to COVID-19, we've got a few events in the pipeline coming up. So we've been thinking and we've been brainstorming. So we probably are thinking of doing another virtual dinner party.
Yeah.
Probably, we've got friends that have been hinting to us. So probably we're thinking of doing maybe one for the singles. So having a singles virtual dinner party. So that would be interesting. We've got Africa Day coming up. So we might think of doing an international Africa Day party to coincide. I think that's on the 25th of May. We don't know yet. So all these ideas we're bouncing off each other. But Edwina, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, with the I mean, we were genuinely surprised at how well the virtual dinner party went. I mean, the only issue that we had was obviously making sure we got the deliveries to the right places on time. So I think we will, once we've sorted out the logistics behind it, I think everything else is okay. I think we're both quite good at comparing and hosting anyway. So virtually, I mean, it being sort of behind the screen didn't stop us from hosting a really good, fun party. So we're definitely going to try it again with other things. And like Akosua just said, the singles dinner party, it's going to be something to do with like light food, not obviously actual eating because we want people to talk. But with the whole COVID-19 thing, I think, like we said before, we're being very fluid and adaptable, and we're definitely adapting to bringing a lot more fun virtually to people.
Okay. 1 hour, 10 minutes, and some 41 seconds. Thank you. Thank you, Akosua and Edwina. If we stay here, we might actually stay longer than we all thought.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm sure we've all learned something. Maybe sometime when I'm in London, I'll come so that you cook for me.
Please do.
Please do.
Love that.
And thank you so much for having us.
Thank you too for joining in, and thank you to everyone who joined the online streaming. Thank you so much. Next week, God willing, when we are all alive and healthy, Lucy will come your way again with another interesting conversation with other entrepreneurs as well. And if you joined in the middle of the conversation, you can always go back and watch the full thing on GUBAenterprise.tv on YouTube and GUBA Trade Expo on Facebook. And hopefully we can upload it on our Instagram pages as well. But thank you all for joining. Thank you, Akosua and Edwina. We wish you the very best in the businesses, and we all hope and pray that COVID-19 will become a thing of the past sooner than later. So thank you, and thanks to the viewers also. We'll see you again next week. Lucy will join you next week.
Thank you.
Good night from all of us here.
Thank you. Bye.